Welcome to Everyday Woodworking, the podcast where we connect the art of woodworking with your everyday life. Whether you're a seasoned craftsman or just starting out, we've got you covered with tips, tricks, and insights to help you create something beautiful. I'm Ricky Fitzpatrick, your guide on this woodworking journey, and I can already smell the sawdust. So grab your tools and let's get started. It's time for Everyday Woodworking. Hello, this is Ricky Fitzpatrick, and welcome to another episode of Everyday Woodworking. Today, we'll share a quick tip for your drawers, dresser drawers, that is. We'll talk about our tool of the week, the impact driver, and we'll also take a listener Q&A about spar urethane. So, without further delay, let's get started. Our quick tip is about soap on drawer runners. One of the most frustrating things I can think of as a woodworker is a sticky drawer, especially if you have old wooden runner drawers. The wood expands and contracts, and it's just inevitable. I mean, they're going to stick and chatter, and if you're like me, they do it when you're trying to be extra quiet in the house or in the dark when you really can't tell what's going on. Worse yet, if I'm making or restoring something for a client, it's embarrassing to see them struggle with a sticky drawer before they even take the thing home. So just to put an end to this right away, for less than $1, you can clean up this act and get those drawers moving again. There are a lot of things you can do to stop sticky drawers, and I mean, let's be honest, nobody likes it, but there are sprays, waxes, and they do work just fine, but why not just grab a bar of soap? Yes, a bar of soap. Go to the store and grab the cheapest, most humble bar of soap you can find. It should be way less than $1, and give a couple of quick rubs across the surface areas of the drawer runner. And guess what? They won't stick. And a bonus, this will last for years. Who knew? A bar of soap. And hey, if you get hot while you're doing this, you'll be ready to grab a shower and freshen up. Our tool of the week, the impact driver. The cordless drill has been a standard in every workshop for many years now, even from the old days of underpowered, battery-sucking models that were little more than powered screwdrivers. But in recent years, the cordless impact driver, in my opinion, has become the must-have in any toolbox, junk drawer, or shop setting. It's everything the cordless drill and the cordless driver wish they could be, with almost no downside. A couple of years ago, I had a cordless drill that I used for pretty much everything, and it was a love-hate thing. Many times it would just bog down, or worse yet, it'd strip out the head on a deck screw. It was so frustrating. Then, by chance, I won a Ryobi cordless impact driver, and it literally changed my life. I'm not exaggerating either. It was like the clouds parted and the angels sang. The impact driver, in my opinion, is one of the great inventions of modern man, along with like space travel and penicillin. In case you don't know, basically an internal hammer is compressing a spring in the impact driver every time it rotates. And as that spring is released, the hammer is driven down while twisting. It's voodoo magic, Area 51 level stuff, but hey, it works. I'm going to post a link in the show notes to a popular mechanic video that shows an impact driver in slow motion. If you're curious, it will really give you some insight into how this tool works if you don't already know. The impact driver is a tool that you should invest in. For less than $100, you can start saving millions of screw heads, utilizing some extra torque, and frankly, sound totally awesome while you're doing it. When the neighbors hear that rat-a-tat-tat-tat-tat, coming out of your garage, they're just going to assume you're engaged in something involving like sweat and biceps and testosterone. I mean, it's a must-have, really. I'm also going to leave a link to a couple of my favorite versions of the impact driver in the show notes. So if you don't have one of these, run, don't walk, and grab one today. Listener Q&A, Spar Urethane.
Whoa!
This week's listener Q&A comes from Rhonda Smith 3146 from our YouTube channel. And Rhonda says, do you have any tips for applying spar urethane to new pre-hung knotty pine interior doors? Should I do it before the doors are hung or after? And should they be laying flat or upright? Thanks in advance for the help. Rhonda, thank you very much for your question. And what I'm going to tell you, it's not so much a right or a wrong way of doing this, but it's my preference, okay? In my opinion, doors should always be finished off the frame. It's just easier. It's more convenient to handle when they're on a workbench or a set of sawhorses. Plus, you don't have to worry about the mess or the smell that comes from finishing something in the house, especially when it comes to spar urethane, because even though I love the smell of it, it's very strong, okay? The spar has a tendency also to want to run. So if you can give it kind of a lay flat surface, then I think that's all the better. I will say, just FYI, you don't have to use spar on an interior door. It's really designed to be more of an outdoor kind of multi-environment product. And it's perfect for high humidity or big temperature swings, but an interior door won't require it. But I mean, if you're like me, maybe you just like it. I like the look of spar urethane personally, so that's mostly why I like using it. I will say this too, until fairly recently, spar urethane was only an oil-based urethane. Now there is a water-based spar urethane, and to me, it's just a cheap imitation of the real thing. If you're going to use spar urethane, get the real deal. Don't do the water-based stuff. To me, it's not nearly as durable, and it just doesn't have the same effect. So that's just, again, my opinion, and I hope that helps, Rhonda. Thank you very, very much for the question. And if you're listening and you have a question for us, please let us know. You can email them to Ricky, that's RICKY, at avfga.com with the subject line Everyday Woodworking Q&A. Just a quick heads up, next week we will be looking at part 1 of a brand new project spotlight where I'm going to be refinishing a 1990s oak veneer dresser. This is a project we started for a client. They wanted their dresser refinished with a stain. Basically, this was a project of wins and losses, but in the end, it really turned out to be a success. So we're going to talk about part 1 next week, which will be our prep phase, and that's going to involve evaluation, cleaning, repairs, sanding, and prep for the paint. So if you're a furniture refinisher or a flipper, or if you're a DIYer with an interest in revamping older pieces, then tune in. You will not want to miss this. Hey, thanks a lot for joining us on this episode of Everyday Woodworking. I hope you found today's tips and insights helpful and inspiring. As I said before, if you have any questions for us, please let us know. We would love to hear from you. You can contact me via email at ricky@avfga.com. Also, if you enjoyed this episode, please let us know by leaving us a glowing review. It is so important to what we do. Again, thank you so much for being here with me. My name is Ricky Fitzpatrick. Join us next time here on Everyday Woodworking.